Change, it's inevitable. Progress, though, isn't. It's up to us to create progress. You, me, collectively. For the sake of a better tomorrow. For the sake of a better today. And it's the same with cars. In the early 60s, Mr. Bond could whiz past his villains in a DB5 doing 0 to 100 in just 8.3 seconds. And in the 80s, you could be peak Miami and pretend to be a Mr. Pablo while getting into your LM02 and do 0 to 100 in 8.3 seconds. Now though, you need to be neither a super villain or a super spy. And you don't have to have a shouty car either. Because this, the first ever electric SUV from Mahindra, the XUV400, Mahindra's beacon of progress, the flair that's showcasing the future of one of India's most loved and liked automakers, does 0 to 100 in just 8.3 seconds. Welcome then to the quiet future where the only smoke a Mahindra will ever belch is when those tires are getting tortured. Welcome to Mahindra's first ever electric SUV. So let me get straight to the facts. 150 horsepower, 310 Newton meters of torque, front wheel drive, 39.4 kilowatt hour battery pack and a top speed of just 150. Should we give that a check? And here are some more facts. It has fast charge capabilities. 0 to 80% charge in just 50 minutes on the 50 kilowatt quick charger, and that makes this car very usable. But the most important figure of them all, 456 kilometers of range, and that's a figure that's going to be annoying the Tata Nexon because that is just 437 kilometers of range. And even more facts, it's bigger than the 300, 200 mm bigger, although the wheelbase stays the same. Now this is a brisk car, and yes, in an open space like this you might not get the sensation of speed, but on the road amongst traffic you will see how quick this thing is when it gets off the line really quickly, or when all that torque comes in and it sort of dusts through traffic when you really want it to. Funnily though, it doesn't really like corner carving that much, and in fact if you do throw it into a corner, there is a bunch of understeer, and then when you do lift off, there's just a little hint of oversteer as well. So honestly, not something that you would take into the hills and go flat out with, but in the city, which this of course is meant to be, or on general sort of commutes, this thing will be a quickish thing. Let's squeal and torture those tires just a little bit more, shall we? But it has its flaws. All I ever wanted the XUV300 to have was a nicer looking interior, one that looked a lot more modern, a lot more contemporary, one that had a bigger screen, a better screen. And I really thought that Mahindra would do this for the XUV400, and they haven't. Still that exact same design, and that looks at home if you are in 2012, not in 2022. Even the copper accents haven't been able to help, and there are quite a few of them around. The badge, the volume knob, the large knob in the middle that controls how hot and sweaty you get, and even the gear lever, which by the way looks like BMW made it. And yet the screen is too small, the buttons are all over the place, and just in terms of design, this is an instant no-go. After all, this is the view that all of us sitting and driving this are going to have. But what about the view that everybody else on the road gets to see? It is still very Mahindra and obviously still very XUV300, just longer and without that ungainly cut-off rear end. It's smoother too, and with all these X's involved, it sort of reminds me of the internet history of someone I know. They have got it right here though. These copper accents make it look so much more expensive. You know, I have a gut feeling that this color combination, this signature color combination, is gonna scream out your holier than thou EV status more than any green number plate ever will. It just generally stands out. It's cool in its own little way. Okay, let's be realistic. This is the first time ever that the Nexon EV has real competition. This has the capability of knocking the Nexon EV off its top step that it's been enjoying a free rein with for a while now. On paper, the XUV is better, far better. But on the road, we'll know when we drive them both back to back and unleash them on the street. For now though, even with its flaws, and it does have a couple of big flaws, this thing has impressed me as much as my first ever rap song did.